Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming to you from SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill, and joining me here as always, except when he's not, is BT Calloway.
Hoi hoi.
And joining us for the very first time is Amelia Navascues.
Hello.
And thank you for joining us for the Simpsons Index. Of course, it's a podcast where we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time, but there is a twist. Each episode must come from a different decade. Now, Amelia, thank you for joining us for the first time on the show.
Oh, what an honor.
We've made it all the way to honor. Excellent.
And for our first-time guest, you guys, you get some exclusive questions that's not afforded to the repeated people. So we want to dig in and we want to ask, what is your Simpsons history? Where did the show begin with you?
I think I've got probably the quintessential 90s kid experience where you're watching at like 6 p.m. Channel 10 every single night. And I think also I used to watch it on Saturdays at my dad's place when they used to do the 3-hour runs of it on Saturday morning, 9 till 12. And because I was just a dirty little gremlin kid, I would then rewatch it on Fox 2 as if I hadn't just rewatched those episodes like 2 hours beforehand. I was like, I'm going to miss out on some detail. It's not like I was watching The Wire or anything.
Oh, that rules. Yeah, the Channel 10 and the Fox marathons are, often people's beginning points. But where is the ending point, though? Where did you fall off from the show? Assuming you have.
Yeah, no, I think I'm like the normal experience where like I feel like I dropped off after like maybe season 10 or 12. Also, when I can't remember what the exact point was, I think when the cartoons got a little too glossy and like Homer and Marge's marriage was the main through line, I was like, I'm like 18. I don't really associate too much with like a failing 40-year-old's marriage. Like the writers need to sort of step up a bit. So yeah, I think that was the drop-off point.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you happen to, you don't really remember any particular episodes that rubbed you the wrong way or anything, or just like, yeah, I'm over this now?
Yeah, I think it was like a sort of a gradual fall from grace. It wasn't like there was a specific moment where I was like, fuck this shit, I'm tapping out. I just fell slowly out of love with it. It was like a burning long-term relationship with someone living in France. And then you're like, we can make this work. And then you're like, no, it has to end.
Yeah, it's like a tired 40-year-old marriage of its own making.
Yeah, and I think the in jokes, like within the universe of The Simpsons, just became a bit tired for me. They started relying so much on all of the tropes of the characters from what I loved about them in the earlier seasons, but they didn't build on it, and it became really like gimmicky and gaggy for me, and it just took all the heart out of the show for me, which is a real shame because it was probably one of my favorite shows growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. That is pretty much how we feel, and yeah, we've done over 600 episode reviews, and it's like, yeah, we can confirm that. But I mean, looking back fondly onto the good years, do you revisit the show much at all? The early days, or?
Yeah, I think maybe once a year or every now and then, like I'll do a bit of a deep dive into the earlier seasons, and I don't know, I think just off the top of my head, probably one of my favorite ones is the one where Homer gets convicted of being like a sexual predator with the Venus Gummy DeMilo.
Yeah.
And there's like a whole media storm that's just building around him. And just the image of Homer Simpson like lying on the ground of his bathroom with the tiles and just has like a shower curtain draped over his naked body and the press just taking photos is probably one of my favorite scenes of the entire series. Yeah.
That scene as well, because sometimes I'll let my mum use my Zoom login, and for the longest time, that image of Homer was my profile picture. And she kept logging into these Rotary meetings and like having other old people go, It was about to out her name. Yeah, anyway.
Elliot's mum.
Yeah, that's how they refer to her. I don't think she'd care. Hi, sir. Anyway, well,
BSB 210.
yeah. Well, yeah, thank you for letting me subject you to some new Simpsons today. Like this first episode we watched, this was Season 26, Episode 3, Super Franchise Me. First released in October of 2014, directed by Mark Kirkland, written by Bill Odenkirk. In this episode, Marge gets discovered as an amazing sandwich maker, and then a businesswoman offers her a franchise, which Marge starts getting some success with, and then Cletus opens up an express version of that same franchise across the road from her. Hey, all, what do we think?
What's a third act? Man, like this one had some potential. I was kind of excited, especially in the first segment where, Marge gets discovered as a sandwich maker and is going to open up her own business. Like, cool, Marge, a businesswoman. I mean, I'm on board. And then they just didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, I feel like they could have gone down. I would have loved to see Marge as hashtag girl boss doing the sandwich shop. That would have been a sick direction if she's girl bossing, smashing out these sandwiches with Cletus across the road, but she goes for the hardcore, corporate capitalist type where she just automates everything. She just goes full automation nation. It fell flat. I agree.
Yeah, I was so bored by this one.
Yeah. Didn't she also have a pretzel shop in a really early season? I felt like it was a bit of a rip-off of that.
Tiny bit.
Yeah, she's buying into a franchise and struggling to have success, and then she has it, except, that one had steaks, and the mafia are involved, and was a lot of fun.
They were pretzels, Elliot, not steaks.
Ah, haha.
Self-5.
For those of you at home, Beach totally self-fived himself.
Oh, they can hear that. They can hear the satisfaction in that clap.
Thanks to Roadie Mike. Never miss another self-5 again.
It's a sure. Come on, guy.
Fuck. All right. Well, enough Mike talk. Let's get back to Simpsons talk. Amelia, we'll start with you. For better or worse, what's a moment from this episode that stood out to you?
Oh, there weren't many, let's be honest. I think for me, I liked the scene where Marge was interviewing for the employees to start working there. And there are 3 employees that she interviews. The first one is old Gil, who is kind of just, being old Gil, unemployed, on and off the job. The second one is, quintessential.
Shana.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shina. Yeah, was it
Shana?
Shana.
And she just wanted to get manicures and was eventually seen stealing from the till, and she gets employed. But the third one was weirdly Professor Frink, who is the scientist with a nervous tick. But I like how he says at the end, back to the unemployment queue. And I feel like that was the greatest truth in the whole series, that, a scientist has the highest likelihood of being unemployed right now.
Yeah, definitely. I was like, what an odd choice. And it's I did hate how that was set up, though. It's now, Frink, can you say this one sentence without saying anything else? It felt very this is exactly what's about to happen.
It was so gimmicky because that wasn't the funny part for me. The funny part for me was that a scientist has the same socioeconomic status right now as a teenage mum and an out-of-work lawyer. Because I saw a plumber the other week around King's Cross driving a Porsche, just blasting R&B, and I was like, yeah, he earned that.
Yeah. No matter what the economy does, there is still shit to handle.
Yeah.
But how about you, BT? What stands out to you from this episode, for better or worse?
Again, in terms of plot beats, not many, so I'm going to throw to 2 because I can. One was the music sting for Ecstasy of Gold, which I love that song. I'm not sure why they were using it.
The montage of Homer waiting by while Marge makes the sandwiches. She couldn't give him a sandwich while she was... I don't know.
I don't know. It was just this is, most famous for being in the final standoff scene in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. What does it have to do with making sandwiches? So, I love the song. It's amazing, but why is it here?
Or opening up Metallica concerts.
Also that.
That's what they use as their walk-on music.
It's very good. And the other one is a bit I did genuinely like, and I'm just going to throw it ahead a bit to the heart of this episode, where, Marge is worried about tomorrow and wakes up Homer, and he starts off being supportive, but halfway through forgets what he's doing and assuming Marge is meant to be supporting him. He goes, I feel better now, thanks, night. I thought that was pretty good.
Fucking wallops him one, though, when she wants him to wake up again, though. Jeez.
Well, you would have to, let's face it. He'd be a heavy sleeper.
Yeah, as one myself, I've woken up to many a smacks. It's like, what?
I used to live with you. I know you're a goddamn heavy sleeper. We once set up a guitar and amp next to your head to wake you up.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, the other one was the sting. I feel like all of the references these days in the newer episodes just also are quite lacking for me. Like, I feel like I used to really enjoy the novelty of being able to pick out a Stephen King reference or what have you, and even if they didn't make sense in the context of the show, they still were like enjoyable to watch. But I felt like, I agree, it felt just really vague as to why it was there. It was almost like the writers were just sitting around, there was like pieces of paper and a hat, and they're like, what reference are we going to do today?
Yeah, because usually they like to feel a little bit clever. I get that. Well done, writers. Carry on.
Yeah, that's it. The best Simpsons reference joke is one where the episode totally works regardless of you being familiar with it previously. And like, I feel like, I mean, not that it matters, but usually, but the couch gag as well, doing the whole...
Oh yeah, what the fuck was that?
It was a big reference to Cat Stevens' album Tea for Tillerman, and it's just...
Okay, I have that album. I didn't know the reference.
I also have that album, and I didn't recognize that. I thought because I had issues with my internet that I had maybe skipped 2 minutes in, and then I saw the couch gag, and I just thought, whoa, it's been a long time since I've watched this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you left at season 10, that's been 16 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's hard to criticize the couch gags too much because, I mean, they are meant to be gags, but the newer episodes just, do these whole giant extended things, which is just...
It wasn't bad. It was just, I wasn't sure what to take from it. I mean, the visual change was nice, but again, what are we doing exactly?
Yeah. And sort of similarly for me, as well, the thing that stood out to me was the final sting, the sandwiches throughout history. Like, I thought we were going to get like a clever like cut of like different sandwiches throughout history, but we just got this one extended slow Homer chasing a giant sloth bit, and
I know, and it wasn't even
tedious.
It wasn't even over the credits. It was like this episode didn't have enough episode to cover the full stretch. They needed to tack on this little sketch that meant nothing to it. It was like, guys, come on.
Yeah.
I totally agree. It was almost like they had the budget to do a 2001 Odyssey styled evolution thing, and then they ran out of budget for like 10 minutes in. They're like, okay, that's enough evolution for you. Okay, here's the credits.
Yeah, which is weird because, if they had the time, because the episode came in short. But they just really stretched it out as much as they could.
You know what I didn't get? Another thing was why Mr. Burns was just a random character towards the end of the show, and the fact that he's needlessly senile now.
Yeah.
My love for Mr. Burns as a character is that he's witty and he's conniving and he's old, but he's got all this wisdom behind him, and he is kind of, senile at times, but the fact that he was that just not with it felt really sad.
It's always been more that he's just massively out of touch because he only knows the era when he was, powerful. And here he's just thinks a cardboard cutout is a real woman, and he's got some funny lines. I do like when it fell down, he goes, sorry you died. Then there's the follow-up of, I'll just put her with the others. Like, whoa, that got dark.
Yeah, and dumping the body and stuff, like...
Yeah, and then, the dumping the body is where I really turned on this part, because he says, Smithers is like, sir, I think we've gone far enough to dump the body. He's like, oh, dump the body? No, I'm pitching woo. It's like, is your implication here that Mr. Burns is now flirting with a corpse?
Yeah.
Like, or at least what he thinks is a corpse. That said, I did then like when he tried to play harmonica and launched himself off the boat.
Sure.
So, mixed bag altogether.
A good old joke about Mr. Burns only weighing as much as his clothes and keys, But I think it comes back to what you were saying before, Amelia, is that a lot of these characters are reduced down to more gimmicky elements.
Yeah, I just would have loved to see more dimensions to Marge within that entire episode. Like, I just felt like she was playing the character of, I'm the tired mother who has to think about my husband after he dies and the fact that I'm not going to be financially secure. So I'm going to fall to a scam and I'm going to be tired afterwards and my husband's going to have to help me. It's like, come on. I just would have loved to see it go in pretty much any direction. Like, why not get help from Lisa throughout it? Or why not have as many kids as Cletus so you can have your own farm of children to run the store? I don't know.
That is why you have children, for the labor.
Well, I mean, which sandwich store was doing better? One was called Express, so...
And was serving roadkill to their customers. Like, I just don't get how that wasn't more of a point in the thing. But I feel like the story in this one just sort of, because the plot beats happened because in a story like this they would happen, but it didn't feel like there was any reason behind all this. There's no real reason why Marge starts doing well. And like, it's not even explained that, Marge is doing well now, let's open up another location here, you know?
No, she starts doing well because she's not paying for labor.
Oh, yeah, true.
But again, that wasn't a point. That was just the thing that happened.
And that's what the lesson of the whole episode is that JobKeeper rules and people should never pay for labor and we should all be interns forever.
Yay. Capitalism. Wackiness. Was this a particularly wacky episode of The Simpsons? How were the cartoony elements?
I got some whack here. Homer using just balloons as drones, and then an eagle snatches Lenny's sandwich.
I did pop for that. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Gil's real legs are chicken legs. And what the fuck? Please don't. Please stop, Simpsons.
Yeah. There was a subtle joke about the implication that Marge has webbed feet, like, way back when. But, yeah, overtly showing a man with chicken legs, like...
I'm not a well man, Marge. Like,
Was there a hallucination as well at the beginning of the episode where Homer looks at the family and Marge is like an ice cream cone?
Yeah, that was dumb. Like, Grandpa's asking him to get buttered or, like, what?
Yeah, because he's a potato, and then when the illusion isn't a potato, he's still asking for butter, and you're like, but why? That's dumb. Wah, wah.
Yeah.
It pulls me out of the world so much when they do that I just want to be in that room where they're writing the episode, and I want to see the guy that pipes up and he's like, hey, what if we, like, make Marge look like an ice cream cone? And they're like, yeah, dude, like, that would be awesome. It just makes no sense to me how that gets scripted in the final pass.
It makes more sense if you think of them as all college stoners. I was like, dude, that's so funny. We're putting that in. I want an ice cream. I'm going to call it Marge.
So how about the emotional core of this episode? How is the heart? You know, classic Simpsons, they could balance the cartoon and the emotions well. Is a story about Marge starting and trying her own business. How was it?
I mean, lacking. And it should have been because, again, it's Marge really trying. And there is a moment where she feels successful. But because, okay, so Cletus opens up the other store. The implication is that it's actually corporate who have opened another branch right next to Marge. That's undermining her sales. So it should be, oh no, we've opened this thing and now all our finances are tied into it. And if we give up, we're ruined. But they don't do that. It's just, oh no, we're kind of stuck. We don't have any customers. It's like, but again, there's no stake.
I felt the same. There was just no stakes at play. And I think if they were going to drive a particular point, I think the point it would have been for me was that crisis moment where they all had to come together as a family. And it was almost like the Cletus family versus the Simpsons family. And I mean, they all did kind of band together, but it was in a very gimmicky montage sequence way where it almost artificially tried to create the emotion for me. And up until that point, there was nothing but, you know, gag, thin storyline. Maybe the point of Marge, like the reason why she got the whole franchise in the first place could have been driven a little bit more as like why she was fearful to not have finances in the future and then Homer coming in or something like that. But I think they just didn't do anything to make the family unit feel cohesive, which is what made it so special for a lot of people in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, that's it. And that emotional core was so lacking in that way where I think they almost had like the right parts at the end with like Homer's like losing weight because he's running himself so ragged, and Marge is driven to Moe's for once. I think, yes, these are good ideas, but like if we had the build up of the story before that, like otherwise, it just did nothing. But I mean, there's not really much entertaining jokes here either. So I don't know. This whole thing just had a big feeling of what are we doing here for me?
Yeah, I mean, we've said this multiple times about some of the latter seasons. This just feels like the first draft of a script. The very core bones are fine, but there's just not enough on it to really matter. There's bread, but there's no filling.
Yeah, it's just a bread sandwich. But ultimately, did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Are these the characters we know and love? How's the integrity of the show?
Hell no. For me, absolutely not. I think even when I go back and watch something from season 4 or season 7 or whatever, I get this weird, inexplainable feeling when you watch it where you just believe all of the characters. You see yourself in all of them. And I didn't see my faults and I didn't see any relatability to any of the characters. I saw them very much as two-dimensional gags. And I just felt like I was watching not a Cartoon Network show, but like a kid's cartoon, if anything, where it was very plastic.
Yeah, very simple, so you don't confuse the young'uns.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any... Okay, Mr. Burns is definitely against character, and there's a moment with Lisa where Marge is like, oh, my family can help me, and Lisa's like, what, an American kid work? No. It's like, that's not Lisa at all.
No, she'd be worried and
helpful.
Exactly.
If this wasn't ground we'd already trod with Marge and the pretzel wagon, I would be a little more... Well, okay, I wouldn't like it more, but at least it would feel fresher. I forgot what I was saying. Back to you, Elliot.
Well, I didn't, besides the ones you mentioned, I didn't think there were some serious breaks, but it is just so watered down and just inconsequential that, it then doesn't feel like the show we love, even if the characters are okay, but
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Homer do a lot of horrendous things lately, so it was nice to see him be supportive. But if he's working so hard at this, Marge's place that he's losing weight, surely there should be something about him leaving the plant, going straight to the sandwich shop, driving himself flat because otherwise he'll be financially ruined. I don't know, something. Steak. Again, we always come back to steak.
Yes. But yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
Not particularly. Is it on and do I have nothing? No, okay. Maybe laundry, but not really.
Yeah, I'm avoiding this one. How about you, Amelia?
It's a no from me.
All right. Now it's time for one of my favorite parts of the podcast. What would we change? BT, what would you like to change about Super Franchise Me?
Oh my, many things. Again, what you've got is okay. You just need some passes to clean out some of those jokes that flat out don't work. One I'm really going to point to is Marge is opening this place and Bart's like, what's your drink refill policy? And she's like, unlimited, as long as you buy something. And Homer's like, I bankrupted a Pizza Hut doing that. And so it's then a tell, then show. And in the dream sequence showing the past, he's just drinking soda over and over. And it's like, there's nothing else here. Why is this a joke? It's just the same bit you've already told us. There's no extra dimension to it.
Yeah.
Look, I like the idea that Marge has done this for financial security outside of Homer, and then it starts, driving, is the controlling force of the family. Then it's, taking the kids out of school, it's taking Homer out of work, all to just survive. There's something to be said about corporations in this as well, so focus on that some more. Just a little bit more focus, especially on the plot and the heart, and towards the end of it as well. The fact that Cletus is established not even as a villain, he's just a problem, and he's serving people roadkill. Maybe even have it... she finds out the reason they're able to do this so quickly is because they have shitty ingredients, and she tells people and they're either like, yeah, we don't care, it's fast. That's a nice commentary, I suppose. Or she's like, if I tell people, that will ruin another family. How could I do that? So look, there's so many other places you could take this. I've got Three Stooges syndrome. I'm trying to explain everything I want to change. Everyone's just wedged in the door.
Move it, Chatterhead. How about you, Amelia? What would you like to change?
I reckon I would like to see Marge flip from being the scare me to the scammer. So if she's short on labor, I reckon it would have been cool for her to put like ads out on Gumtree for like interns from, elementary schools, and then just employ heaps of 10-year-old children to like work in the sandwich shop. And then I want the franchisee owner to come in and be like, what are you doing? This is exploitative. Like, you're damaging like people's lives. These are 10-year-old children, but she was actually screwing her over, and then the whole franchisee company has to get shut down because they've been found out for like doing fraudulent like child labor, and then Marge gets off scot-free. I reckon that would have been fun.
Oh, absolutely. Like, these ideas introduce the idea of conflict and, like, characters sort of having to question themselves and stuff. It just, things that never happened in this. And I think, for me, like, part of the problem is the build. It's just why all of a sudden Bart and Lisa are able to trade sandwiches at school, and why, when Marge goes to look at this, is there suddenly a franchise owner in the school? I think just doing something as simple as like, we've got too many sandwiches. How about I go work in the cafeteria for a day or two and we can get rid of them? Like, at least that'd set it up, and potential for, commentary on American public school food and all that sort of stuff.
Okay, so they have a bit where Ned's offered to, store their extra sandwiches. How about he's like, hey, we could take this to the homeless shelter. Oh, Marge, these are really good. People are really loving them. You should start a business. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Better episode.
Yes, and then she can come so far and get so much money and then look back and say, oh, forgot about the people who helped me get here.
I forgot about the sandwiches.
And yes, for an episode about sandwiches, something which, you'll find out later, Amelia, we're very keen on here,
We're passionate.
But that's a little bit of sizzle for the end of the show. But first, let's get through our final notes.
And now it's time for our final notes. Everyone's final notes.
I haven't done that song in a while.
Final notes.
Amelia, do you have any final notes about this episode, bits from the episode you want to mention before we rank it?
The only other note that I would probably have is that I thought the dog died.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Homer was force-feeding it, and I did write down, please stop force-feeding the dog. It didn't die.
But didn't he die? I thought they got rid of the dog.
Not in any of the episodes that I've seen.
There's been some shenanigans, but no.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of a different show.
Family Guy? I know they killed Brian, and then like all the Chud fans were like, don't kill Brian. They're like, okay, we won't kill him.
Well, I think that was my main thing. I thought he died, but it's good to know that he didn't.
Nope.
I mean, I'm really scared of any episodes I've not seen now, but...
No, like every single dog ever, he lives forever.
Yep, lives forever. Good boy.
BT, do you have any other notes?
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, so it starts off and Flanders is, noticing his energy bill is up. And he's like, that's a higher power than even I believe in. I thought that was pretty good.
That was just another thing where I thought the Ferris wheel was just too far too quickly. It would have been just fine enough if Homer's like running an extension cord from Flanders. Like,
I was fine with the Ferris wheel. I was like, this is over the top, and yeah, sure, it gets things rolling. There's a bit of continuity where Flanders does have the Beatles bunker.
Oh, yeah.
And I do kind of like Homer's line where he's got all the steaks in the freezer and it's like, I have them in case society collapses, but we still have power for some reason. Like, yeah, that sounds like a lot of preppers.
Yep.
In the wackiness, the Mayo truck and how they have to squeeze the sides of the Mayo truck to get it to pump.
And they mentioned like a Mayo shotgun at some point as well.
This is a very Mayo-heavy joke episode. Like, if it wasn't for mayonnaise, this episode loses like 13% of its jokes. Because, there's a Mayo shotgun, and then there's, Wiggum walks in. It's like, I need you to put a lot of mayo on it. When I say a lot of mayo, I mean don't ever stop pumping mayo. So, yeah, man.
Mayo is the funniest of all the sauces, I reckon.
True.
Depends how much not writing any good aioli jokes. I don't know.
No, it depends how much mustard you have in the house. That's more sizzle for later. Let's see.
But and they did a callback as well to the ketchup catsup joke, and it's like, that was funny then. There's no more good.
Go.
Yeah.
There's a bit where Wiggum buys a really big sub from Cletus's sandwich shop, and just as he's carrying it out, says, I'm going to sit next to it. I don't know why. I like it. He's going to have it in the back. He's going to cradle it on the way home. So the way they get out of this is they have Homer dress up as a rich guy and then, pretend to spill coffee and needles on his crotch. And he does have the line of, I was going to be $1 million crotch model, which, that's stupid enough for me to like it. My problem, though, really, is that, Marge gets out of this by going, but it says here that the company will fully train all employees. Like, Marge, you are the manager. You're responsible for training your employees. This is your fault entirely. So don't think you can get out of contract just because of that. That is... Look, we take operational health and safety very seriously here at the Simpsons Index. Please work safe, everybody.
That's why we're all wearing these fluoro vests.
I'm always fluoro in spirit, man. And that is all my notes. Back to you in the studio, Elliot.
Yeah, only just a couple of others. When Homer pulls out the gloves, it looks like it's in a condom wrapper.
Yeah, that was the bit.
Yeah, just interesting choice.
Yeah.
What kind of evil corporation would only focus on making money and then, ba-dang, big Fox logo? It's just, I don't know if it feels like, haha, got him, when it's like, I don't know, this juggernaut that just can't die.
That hand has been feeding them for 26 years at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was the other bit of like weird reference. Like, why did they have everyone as that impressionist painting the picnic?
And I wrote that down as well. It's like visual reference. Bye.
Yeah. So bizarre.
So the one that Cameron stares at in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Ah, that's right.
I don't know what it's called. It doesn't matter.
Painting? Is it Surratt?
I don't think it's Saran Wrap. I'm sorry. I don't know the artist.
The painter's Surratt, I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
We're very art illiterate here.
Yeah, I didn't know, so I made a stupid joke to hide my ignorance.
It's all right.
And it tied into sandwiches. So.
Honestly, I think I come off worse in this.
All right. Well, it is time to rank this thing. On the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode was just meh, you give it a participant. But for positive rankings, we got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold, but for the best of the very best, the episodes which the Simpsons could not exist without, you give cubic zirconia. I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. Straight out participant for me on this one. You know, I reserve the fails for episodes that offend and where the characters are totally broken and the story isn't nonsense here. It's just boring. Yeah. So yeah, participant for me. BT, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm on a hard participant as well. I mean, there were parts where towards the end I was getting so bored I might have kicked it in the pit of failure, but it never quite got to that point of absolute fury and frustration. It's, straight participant. It is a little disappointing because it had some potential in the beginning, but nothing. I meh this entirely.
All right, and Amelia, please finish it off.
I'm also going to go with participant. I think whilst watching it, I was pretty disappointed and bored throughout, but I also haven't watched a lot of the newer seasons, so I don't really have anything to compare it against, whether it's like really low or if this is just the standard. So I think I'm going to go with the safe option and just say I was bored and disappointed. So participation.
I'm pretty keen to have a guest on who only knows like the core good years as it compared to us who have now 600 in. It's getting a little hard to tell what's bad sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, participant is our most given rank, and I think it really does sum up most of the new areas. I mean, you hear people ragging on the new Simpsons all the time, but the fact is the pool of like failures is actually small in comparison to the just middling and episodes of mediocre quality, especially in season 26, where this will be the 6th unanimous participant. It'll be joining My Fair Lady, where Marge becomes an Uber driver. I Won't Be Home for Christmas, where Homer goes missing on Christmas and it's bad. Simpsorama, the Futurama crossover. And one of the Treehouse of Horrors, and also The Wreck of the Relationship, where Homer and Bart go on a boat bonding retreat and Nick Offerman is the captain.
Yeah, Marge gets a lot of new jobs in this season. Okay.
Yeah, totally.
But and compared to the Uber one, she becomes an Uber driver, doesn't like it, and stops. Yeah. That's the plot.
Well, in the earlier seasons, I think, wasn't it Homer doing all of the jobs that ever existed? So maybe if you get up to like season 30 or 40, Bart and Lisa will have a few jobs of their own.
Give it time.
And we'll say Grandpa have a few more jobs, because why not? Because people can't retire anymore.
Ouch.
All right, well, that about does it for the HD era episode. Now we're going to review an episode from the teens era. This is Marge Simpson in Screaming Yellow Honkers. Does anyone know this episode just from title alone?
Marge's boobs begin to scream.
Nope.
I mean, if it's anything else, I don't know if I want to watch it.
What was the title again?
Marge Simpson in Screaming Yellow Honkers.
Yeah, I would have gone for the boob job episode too.
Yeah, but we already reviewed that. All right, well, there's a bit of sizzle. We shall watch that, and we will be back. And we are back, and we just watched our Teens Era episode right from the start of the Teens Era. This was Season 10, Episode 15, Marge Simpson in Screaming Yellow Honkers. First released in February of 1999, it was directed by Mark Kirkland, written by David M. Stern. In this episode, Homer purchases a Canyonero but becomes insecure once he finds out it's the F-Series, intended for women. So Marge ends up taking that car and starts to develop a bit of road rage behind this massive four-wheel drive. Hey, what do we think?
I mean, despite not being about Marge's breasts becoming sentient and suffering an existential crisis and screaming into the void like we all do every day, I really enjoyed it.
I had lots of laughs. Like, I think it was such a stark contrast to the first episode that we watched that it just immediately gave me that reminder of why I do love The Simpsons so much. So, yeah I loved it.
Yeah, honestly, when I think of this episode, it does bring me back to all those Fox 8 marathon ones, because when I was watching the Fox 8 marathons, this is actually when I was catching up on a lot of the Teens Era episodes that I would started missing and whatever. And I just got the nice warm fuzzies from this one. Because this to me is among what the Teens Era does well. It's a super goofy story that's merely a vehicle for jokes and stuff, but it's also solid.
I see what you did there.
Haha. Drove that point home. Via nature. Anyway. So let's hook into this episode and get into our feelings. BT, for better or worse, what's a moment that stands out to you?
I'm just going to highlight Marge's whole journey. And in the previous one, we talked about her not having any stakes in anything. It didn't really feel like she had a lot of agency, whereas here it feels like she does. And it's not just the road rage, it's like she gets a taste of power and control with this vehicle. And it's never explicitly stated, but it's there in subtext. And I really like that. Like, the first part that really comes up is when she punches into the onboard computer. It goes, "Hello, Marge, where would you like to go today?" She's like, "No one's ever asked me that before." But and it kind of just pokes up every now and then. It's a little, especially with her great finishing line for the opening segment of "Out of my way, nature." Yeah, I just really like her journey on this.
Well, the car is showing her a lot of kindness as well. It's like this big, intimidating beast, and then all of a sudden she opens the door. Oh, a little step for me. Okay.
Yeah, and all 36 shopping bags in one trip.
Yep.
I think from the first episode, this is almost the complete opposite, where we're seeing what Marge's true independence looks like, where on paper you might see, Marge getting a franchise as being financial independence, but her driving a big beastie four-wheel drive is actually way more freeing for her. And I find that hilarious because it's that whole four-wheel drive era was so big at the time, and to let Marge be the champion of that story just worked so perfectly, I thought.
Oh, absolutely, because, I remember this time where cars were just trying to outbig each other, and fucking Hummers were briefly a thing, and
then they had the stretch Hummer. You're like, how does that even move?
You need a step ladder or something?
Yeah. But for so many episodes that we've seen start off be about another character and become the Homer show, to have the flip of that, start off being Homer drooling over this car and then be all about Marge was just, loved it.
How about you, Amelia? What stands out to you from this episode for better or worse?
I'm going to say for better, the point in the episode where I think I laughed the hardest was where Marge gets sent to the road rage rehabilitation school. And I just thought that whole scene was absolutely hilarious, where they force everyone in the class who's pretty much falling asleep to watch a video of a police delivering a class within the class. And then doing these really funny segues to people perpetrating road rage, and just that one sentence where the judge is driving and bangs a gavel and goes, "I sentenced you to kiss my ass." I remember laughing at that so much as a kid, and the fact that it still makes me laugh right now is awesome.
Just the pure escalation as well, where it starts out as a guy yelling and ripping his mirror and throwing it at someone, and then ends with a guy in an astronaut outfit with a golf club just going, ah!
People from all walks of life experience road rage, Elliot.
And I think the funniest part of it, of all, might be the fact that Chief Wiggum just keeps referring to Marge as a really mentally sick person.
Yeah.
Like that road rage is the worst thing that you could possibly perpetrate in a small town, that they have to send people to road rage rehab when it's actually not that big of a deal. But he's like, you people are sick. You're angry, sick people. I thought that was great.
The whole back and forth when he pulls her over is just, I didn't even write it all down, but the fact that it ends with, now you got exactly 5 seconds to get out of my sight.
Yeah. Aside from Marge as well, his course seemed to work. Like, a lot of these more aggro characters became very level-headed.
Except for Curtis E. Bear, who is actually the worst road rage perpetrator of all.
He wasn't in the class. He was coaching the class. It's different. Coaches don't play.
Man, where did Curtis E. Bear go to when he needs to vent his frustration via 2x4?
Yeah.
Who courtesy bears the courtesy bears.
Poor Eddie.
No, it's such a great one-time bit. Oh, God, what stands out to me? It is like this whole thing where it feels like ultra convenient and silly storytelling, but like I feel like you're so in the moment, especially when Marge does flip out after the road rage class and ends up releasing the prisoners and then wig them again. Like MVP of this
quite MVP of this one.
Just all of those criminals were one day away from being completely rehabilitated. Like, it's such a good spin on the one day till retirement joke.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got a good pre-laugh out of that. I was writing the note before it came up, like, yes, this bit.
Yeah, and it really just demonstrates how these story beats can be super stupid and wacky, but also really funny at the same time, and you don't feel like you're getting cheaped out from the jokes. Yeah.
No.
So, wackiness. Was this a particularly wacky episode of The Simpsons?
Marge's halogen headlights become X-ray.
Yep.
I don't know how to say that good, so I'm going to say word not.
Well, in that moment as well, I think this is the first time I've noticed that they also make parts of butt disappear briefly. There's a little animation goof where, his legs and butt just completely disappear for a few frames, and then like it's just his floating torso above a chair. It's really weird.
You didn't think they removed the nude butt from TV? It was too scandalous for TV?
Oh, actually, speaking of which, when you're watching these episodes on Disney Plus, after you see like the main heading of what episode is on, it flashes up briefly with the rated PG for X. This is the biggest list of things I've ever seen in watching a Simpsons episode on this.
Okay, what do we got?
It was, and I think the ring light's going to block that out, but you can already see.
I can see a lot of lines of text,
Yeah.
And it was rated PG, mild themes and sexual references, mild drug references and coarse language, mild animated violence, mild sexual references, infrequent animated violence, infrequent mild drug and sex references, infrequent mild coarse language.
Infrequency.
I like it. It's risky because you don't know where it's going to pop up. So if the parents were covering their kids' ears, they wouldn't know
it could
when
be
to
anywhere.
do it. Yeah.
It's like that game where you try to figure out the movie based on its IMDb parents' warning description.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, like all the parents who like do their own some scenes involving a troll may scare young viewers.
You
and all
briefly
that sort of
see a young man's buttocks. That kind of thing.
You know what I loved was actually the beginning of the episode where they had the teacher's talent show, because
yes,
I thought that was actually a really funny premise for an opener, because parents having to endure watching other people's children do terrible cover songs and sketch comedy, but being forced to watch teachers do like a seductive balloon popping in front of the parents is just love it.
I saw Krabappel's butt. I paid.
Even when you hold me tight. God, never listened to that song the same way. Yeah, I really love Greenskeeper Willie as well. Nope, sorry, I got that wrong. It was Groundskeeper Willie.
Yep.
Just trying to do, his local Scottish gear.
North Edinburgh putters putt like this.
Yeah. It's just, know your crowd. Yeah. Do more jokes about the brats spewing and all that sort of stuff. Did you have any favorite moments from this opening section, Beej?
Oh, my, yes. I mean, the whole thing is pretty damn good. I think Bart's line of, I didn't think it was physically possible, but this both sucks and blows, is great. A sign out the front was, teacher's theatre night to milk minimum was pretty good. And Skinner just tanking the who's on first bit with yes, not a man with the unlikely pronoun of who, but not the man with the pronoun name Hugh, but who. Fuck, I'm just gonna ruin everything here.
I like how you're talking about Skinner ruining the bit and ruining the description of the bit.
Yeah, it's meta. That was intentional, clearly, to thrill our listeners with meta reference. Everyone, I'm gonna hide.
Bye.
Wasn't there also something on the zoo sign on the entrance where it was like born free, then caged?
Yep.
Yeah. I thought that was great.
Some stellar sign gags in this one, yeah. Yeah, bringing us back to the zoo as well and the wackiness of the episode. What do we think about the whole climax with the rhinos and all that stuff?
I mean, it is stupid, but damn, it's fun. And I really like the Australian guy. So I told him a chain link fence wouldn't hold a rhino. Wait, no, I meant to tell him.
I thought it was really funny too, but weirdly enough, I actually had that thing where, I don't know if you've experienced this, probably because you've reviewed over 600 episodes, where you think it's one episode, but it's actually another. And I thought this episode was going to end with Marge at the demolition derby, where she starts becoming really risky, and then she goes into that weird pit circle for the... Do you remember that? Do you know that episode?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that starts out with Homer's jaws being wide shut, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was this episode's ending, so I was actually quite surprised when I saw the rhinos, and I've completely forgot about that ending.
It would honestly make a lot more sense because, that ending comes out of fucking nowhere with Marge in the demolition derby.
Weird.
And then Homer's Popeye, and it's so weird.
It's bad. Let's get back to the wackiness of a Troth. God damn, I ruined everything.
Buddy.
Back to the wackiness of a sloth getting hit by a tranquilizer and dancing around before falling asleep. I like that.
Yeah, I love a good Domino's joke, just... Good mousetrap joke, I guess you'd call it as well, just how it all links in, and brings us to one of the guest stars of the episode. John Cassar was providing a lot of the animal voices here.
Oh, really? Not Frank Welker?
Not Frank Welker. John Cassar. Anyway,
that's good work.
That's what Elliot learned on Wikipedia today.
Love that show.
Oh, speaking of shows as well, this show's in love with a Dateline with Stone Phillips for some reason.
Yeah, that was great. I love that.
All of a sudden just absolutely spruiking NBC for whatever reason.
I think the NBC gag wasn't that great, but the specificity of Stone Phillips was awesome, because I actually had to Google him afterwards, and he's just some Dateline reporter that I didn't really even know him before that.
Yeah. It's just such a weird thing for them to be plugging into this episode, and like the goofy conviction in which they do it, and it's so like to the camera, like, oh, tell me more about this thing. This sounds pretty good. And apparently Fox really didn't like this bit. And the writers pitched the over the credits bit with Homer as a compromise, and they were like, great. Which is weird. Yeah.
Oh, the part where they murder a beloved character. That's much better. Fox is fucked up.
Wow.
Not murder, just shoot.
Wow.
Repeatedly.
They weren't fine with the episode just weirdly ending with this NBC bit. But they were fine with Homer being held at gunpoint by them.
The more I think about it, the more it makes sense. Like, look, you can't praise another network, but you can remind people that if they don't watch us, we will kill them.
I'd expect nothing less from Murdoch, honestly.
You can't smell murder without Murdoch.
He's almost right. But how about the heart of this episode? How did we find the emotional core?
Again, I think it's just Marge finding like an outlet for anger, and well, not even that, just a degree of power. And I really like the through line of that, starting with the "Where would you like to go today?" to just yelling, "The streets are for the living," which just really got me as well. And let's see, even Homer, when he's all like, well, at least I have a license. She glares at him. He's like, sorry, come on, kid. Come on, kids, I went too far.
Yeah, I think the transition of Marge's personality was really authentic to me. I thought it wasn't ham-fisted or like she was doing everything on her own accord, which was where I think I believed it a lot more than, say, the other episodes where Marge might go on a tangent. You kind of have a bit of a questionable reason as to why she's doing it. But I think all of her emotions were so pure, and having her be like a housewife who's constantly trapped in the house, her being like in this big beefy SUV was just, perfect.
Yeah, you really go on a journey with her, don't you? Like, and it's almost like she's adapting and taking on the car as well. And like, it's a really fun journey to watch her go through that and, you know, stretch her character and let her get to have a lot more fun than she certainly usually gets to have.
Yeah, because all of it is, you know, the domestic life she currently leads, but, you know, enhanced to where she can carry all the shopping and the kids have room to fight in the background and she can just plow through nature to get home quicker. It's not taking her to crazy new worlds. It's the world she knows, just, you know, augmented.
Oh, my God, that whipped cream in the ice scene was, yeah.
I love it because there was just kids being kids, and we so rarely see that because nowadays Bart and Lisa are basically just angsty teenagers, but this is just them having a whipped cream fight because it's stupid and fun.
Yeah, it's not much to talk about because it's not really like an emotional hard episode, but yeah, for a character standpoint, it's quite good. But speaking of character standpoint, did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Are the characters behaving like the characters we know and love?
I thought Baron von Chicken Pants was extremely on character, as we all know and love him.
But then Lisa goes, hey, that's tomorrow night's dinner. Why does she care? Like,
True.
She wouldn't have eaten the chicken regardless of whether they'd become
I mean,
chicken pants.
Elliot, do you want your parents to eat chicken that's touched your brother's butt?
I suppose not.
Yeah, even if you weren't going to eat it yourself. For shame.
Anyway, so what do you reckon, Amelia? Is this mostly The Simpsons that you know and recognize?
Yeah, I mean, I laughed a lot, so I think that's probably the best indicator of that. I felt like all the characters were quite true to themselves. I think aside from Marge, the police interactions and like that whole system setup was pretty on point, as like for Wiggum, and even just Mo being sleazy afterwards. He's like, now Mitch, if you got any problems, like not in a sexual way or anything like that, but if you want it to be, I thought that was great. It was such a small moment, but it stood out so perfectly.
Yeah, I feel like the modern equivalent now is that meme of like, haha, unless, ... you know?
No, joke, unless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's sort of teens era Simpsons, so like, it doesn't feel like classic in that way, and you get, more ridiculous plot beats, but yeah, Amelia, just saying that, you had a lot of laughs, that's a good indicator, and I'm like, this feels like a comedy show, unlike the other thing we watched.
Yeah.
Which existed.
Yeah, it
sure
certainly
did. And just this is some good stupid Homer as well. I do like when, you know, none of the animals are doing anything and Homer's like, oh, it's okay, sweetie, Daddy will fix that broken animal, and then pegs it with a slingshot and tells Lisa, here's your slingshot.
Yeah.
To avoid the blame. It's funny.
Yeah. All right. Well, yes or no? Would you watch this one again?
Yes, I would, Kent.
I would as well.
Awesome. So would I. And Amelia, episodes that we say we want to watch again, we like to think about what Simpsons playlist we'd put them in. So what are some other Simpsons episodes that you think would pair nicely with this one? Share thematical elements and all that sort of stuff.
Maybe the one where Bart goes to the the clandestine, what's it called?
Oh, yeah.
The cabaret place? What's it called? The
Maison Derrière.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one because the plot lines where it's not Homer-centric and the fact that like Bart gets to go on his own personal journey that's completely unique and his own, and he's doing his own thing is what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely.
Characters breaking out of their molds, yeah.
And Marge gets a lot of good licks in that episode as well when her and Lisa go to clean rocks. Dozens and dozens of rocks.
Yeah. Okay. I got 4 chambered for a playlist, so get ready. Canyonero. Ha!
Yeah. Oh, so that's the other guest star of this episode, and as we saw on Amelia's projector there, Hank Williams Jr., the son of Hank Williams.
Yeah.
And the father of Hank Williams III.
I see. It's really keeping that lineage alive. We get some Gil jobs in this one, so not like you would, but you compare it with the last one. Don't.
No, that was it. This was a great Gil appearance, I thought, as well.
Well, this is how you do good pathetic Gil, because I like his mobile rotary phone that says he's pathetic without saying it. And yeah, his whole, who's that? Is that Bill? You said it was over. No, don't put him on. Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Man, sad and it hurts, but funny. My other one is traffic school videos. Like there's that one where Homer's, I forget which episode it is, where Homer's, I think it's the drink driving one, where Homer's watching the video. It's like with Troy McClure, it's like, here's an appealing fellow. In fact, they're appealing him off the sidewalk.
That's right.
There's that one. And my final note is to pair with Baron Von Chicken Pants is the part where Bart puts oranges inside his pants to make it look like he's got massively swollen testicles. I think that's the Focus-In episode, if I remember correctly.
Simpsons groceries touching Bart's genitals. Yes.
Yep. What a playlist that'll be. Oh, my.
Righto. But, even episodes that we enjoy, they aren't perfect. There's some things we can improve. So, Amelia, we'll start with you this time. What would you like to change about this episode?
Probably the ending, I'd say, because the whole plotline of the show was so funny and the gags were so strong, but just the whole zoo element, it kind of lost me a little bit and felt a bit too, Marge has to save the day, Homer's stuck in a portaloo, and I just didn't really care by that point. I think the peak for me was that scene where Marge was at the road rage rehabilitation center and that whole gag sequence where she just loses it. And obviously every episode has to be resolved, but I think, it just fell a little short for me there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's back to the whole teens era thing of like going for more outlandish plot beats and sort of stuff. And it was like pretty convenient how that all rolled out. And it's just like, is she really the only one with a canyon arrow? Why didn't they call Krusty as well? Like, BT, what would you like to change about this episode?
I'm the same way. I want to change something about that third act, even though there's a lot of bits and jokes that I do like. And I'm not sure what to change it with, but something a little more character-driven, because that's kind of what's really lacking for me, is that feeling of conclusion for the character. Maybe instead of going on about Stone Phillips, we could find something else to talk about. I don't know what. I mean, again, I like a lot of these bits. I like Homer stopping and yelling Jumanji. I like Marge's line of, "Can't help you, Chief. Seems I'm full of rage." Like, that's little Simpsons broke my brain. But yeah, ultimately, it's just that feels like the weakest part of this episode.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I'm a bit more on board with it than you guys, but I do recognize that it's just so outlandish, and I feel like there was something that the episode was setting up with, like, Homer's super insecurity about having this car now, and then Marge, like, absolutely rolling with it, and sort of Homer's patheticness, especially, like, when he's, like, just lying on the couch, he's like, a 3-chambered pit. Look, Marge, look at what I did.
I love that line.
I think the episode was going something with Homer's, inactivity and stuff, and Marge was being so much more proactive and, like, installing new headlights on a car and shit like that. I just wish the episode had something to do with that. I guess it did in the end because she had to save Homer from inside a portaloo, but it was a bit...
Just on that, there's a little giggle Homer gives when he hotwires her car that I do really love.
Yeah. He goes, sucker.
Yep.
All right, we are here. BT, actually, no, we'll start with Amelia. Amelia, do you have any other notes about this episode before we rank it?
Oh, I think that was it, really. Do I have anything else? No, I don't. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. It turns out we'll start with BT then. BT, do you have any other notes?
I always do, and you know it. When Homer's buying the car and Gil has this slip up where he's like, I can't remember his line is. He messes something in the sales pitch up, and Homer doesn't even notice. He goes, "A red one," and dashes over.
Oh, yeah. He goes, drill on it all you want, but don't get rainwater on it. They'll strip the paint like that.
Yep. Beautiful stuff. In the traffic school, they're going to be broken down, then rebuilt, then broken down again, then lunch. Then if time, rebuilt again. I just like that courtesy bear. I know we already said it. It just requires repeating. I love Homer's line of, "I've seen plays that are more exciting than this. Honest to God, plays." That is just great stuff. Would you do it for this puppy, Marge? Look at that puppy. That's your hat. She's good, Chief.
Yeah.
I do like when Homer's on top of the car throwing popcorn at the rhinos, and there's a shot of them being like, what's he doing? But then there's a shot of one of them knocked out as though he's actually managed to KO one of them.
Oh, okay. I thought that rhino just got bored, but there you go.
I mean, maybe. I like the idea that one of them was just vulnerable to popcorn.
But yeah, and Ken Brockman's introducing of it all. So the rhinos appear to be no danger to anyone except those people over there.
Yeah. And just again, to tie into the whole, a chain link fence won't hold them. When they pen them all up, it's just that one little tick, there, that'll hold them. And that rhinos instinctively try to put out fires, I think is just good.
I meant to look that up. Oh, yeah, it's probably true. Stone Phillips said it.
Yeah, and when will Detroit build a sunroof for the husky gentleman is what we're all really asking.
Shout out to our Motor City listeners. Yeah, just a couple more notes. I think at the start when Krusty is firing up his Canyon Arrow and the headlights just shine right into the Simpson sedan. This fucking bugs me so much as a driver. Like, I just hate four-wheel drives. And,
Yep. You're like, oh, do they have their high beams on? No, they're just a dickhead. Oh.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Their higher car, their headlights line up perfectly with your sedan mirror. So, yeah, you're always fucking blinded by these things.
I'm going to put it to the world. We need a hand gesture for your high beams are on because it happens a lot and there's no way to signal someone behind you. Someone in front of you, you double flash your lights. That's the done thing. The person behind you, we need a thing for it. And it can't just be a middle finger because that doesn't work. I've tried it.
It means too many things.
Exactly. We need to narrow it down. I've tried like putting my hand out and lowering it down, but that people don't know what that is. We need a standard. It needs to exist.
Well, yeah, much like when the cat wants something, that needs to figure out because it's just really not getting the point across there.
It's trying.
And yeah, that was actually all my notes. It's time to rank this thing. So, BT, we'll start with you this time. What would you like to rank Marge Simpson in Spring?
I had one more note, actually. Leave your murderous anger at home where it belongs. Yeah, got me.
I really liked the cop doing the video.
I'm going to real solid silver. I could have gone a gold if it had just had a little bit more heart or a little bit more story beat to it, but, this is a lot of fun. I had a good time throughout. So that's a silver from me, Elliot.
Amelia?
Yeah, I'll probably say silver as well. Yeah, it gave me heaps of laughs, but I probably wouldn't call upon the episode as like an instant referral to someone. And that for me would be like gold or zirconia, what have you. So yeah, it's really funny, but it's not groundbreaking.
Yeah, solid silver from me as well. And it's sort of like, not to detract too much from the episode, but yeah, you got to, like you said, you got to reserve the higher rankings for the higher episodes. And this episode, while enjoyable, just isn't that elevated.
Yeah, for the episodes that have like everything you'd want, like a good sandwich of some kind.
But more on that later. All right, well, yep, that will be a unanimous silver. It'll be the second episode from season 10 to be called that. It'll be joining Lisa Gets an A, where Lisa cheats on the test, and there's also Mr. Pinchy. And but that wasn't actually a unanimous silver. That was cubic silver, bronze.
Whoa.
That was a very split silver.
That clearly was. Wow.
Yeah.
Controversy.
I do love Pinchy.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
I don't know how you can not look at that lobster's face and not give that episode a cubic. Paul's from One Good Thing podcast. Anyway.
All right. I'd call them our nemesis, but we like them too much. So our frenemies.
Yeah, that's the word for it. All right. Well, that does it for the teens era. So we are going to the classic era, and I am so excited for this one. And for the Simpsons Index as well. This is our last season 5 episode we're going to review.
Holy shitballs.
Yeah, we're going to go watch Lisa versus Malibu Stacy. We will be back. And we are back, and we just watched our classic and final episode of the evening. This was Season 5, Episode 14, Lisa versus Malibu Stacy. First released in February of 1994, it was directed by Jeff Lynch, written by Bill Oakley and Josh Weinstein. In this episode, you all know this one, it's the talking Malibu Stacy doll and Lisa Lionheart. And
she's got a new hat.
She's got a new hat. I want it. Me. What did you guys think?
Delightful.
I loved it. So funny. Yeah. I love the escalation of the episodes tonight. It's just left me on a sweet note, and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's it. Because in the first few podcasts, we did it in the other order, doing the classic first and ending on the HD, and it was too much of a bummer. Like, this way is much better.
We get slowly tired, and then the episodes get more annoying, and we get cranky and need a nap, and not good.
Yeah, the third one shouldn't end like the last of the Godfather movies.
No. Which, thanks to people who have watched The Godfather 3, I still haven't seen it, and the series is still very pure for me.
Aren't they going for a 4 now? I swear I've heard that somewhere.
Oh.
Why?
Yeah. Because everything you love must burn.
The Coppolas should get Nick Cage to do it.
Yes.
Yes, Nick Cage is the godfather.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, this is a stone cold classic, this one. So excited to hook in. Amelia, we'll start with you. For better or worse, what's a moment that stands out to you?
Whoa, my lights just went psycho.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How many
That's all right.
demons are in your house right now? Like,
Yeah, 12, but usually there are only 4.
yeah, and they usually leave the lights alone.
Yeah. Sorry, that was really weird.
That's all right.
Yeah, I think this is a small thing, but it made me laugh a lot. Was towards the beginning of the episode where they're going through the clearance bin of all of the Malibu Stacy dolls, and the first or the second one they pick up is live from the Improv for 89 cents, and that made me laugh so much, and I just loved that tiny little gem.
The oversized shirt and the big brick wall behind it, it's really that era of stand-up.
And achy breaky Stacy as well.
Yeah.
So wonderful. And yeah, setting up the whole overproduced, narrative of the Malibu Stacy dolls while still getting some really good jokes in there of showing how quickly this shit dates. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Totally. And I think the Malibu Stacy main core plot line is really strong, but the fact that all of the side jokes are just as strong on their own, like the classic Mr. Burns, like, hello, Smithers, you are very good at turning me on, like, without even knowing what episode that falls from, that is so standalone funny in of itself.
Yeah. I found myself thinking about the process that he would have gone through. Like, was this like a bunch of voice recordings that he got and stitched together himself? Like, yeah.
Not that era of... It would have been like a Shit Talker or something, that old program to have your computer talk to you. Yeah, the old Mac,
But no, and a really good, because so often, Smithers is just tethered to Burns and, that's great for the character, but it doesn't get to explore, just giving him this little detail that this is his life outside of work is just, it's wonderful.
Yeah, especially to have him there at the end as well with all the little girls yelling, I want to, me. It's delightful.
No, it's so good. How about you, BT? What stands out to you from this episode, for better or worse?
A really weird moment, I had to stop and double check on Frinkiac if I heard this right. So we're going through Grandpa's wacky story about how he got the silver dollars, and back in the day, rich men would ride around in Zeppelin, just dropping coins on people. Anyway, one day I sees J.D. Rockefeller out there, and he's going on, I had just basted my turkey, which back then was called Walking Bird. We'd always have Walking Bird on things, and blah, blah, blah. And he says, we'd always have Walking Bird with all the trimmings, cranberry sauce, Indian eyes. And I'm like, whoa, hold the fuck up. Did he just say Indian eyes? And I looked it up. Yep, he said Indian eyes. So,
is that like just a weird fucking old-timey racist word for corn or something?
I don't know. I Googled it. I didn't see any references. I mean, maybe, but other than that, Grandpa is revealing the old cannibalistic ways of the past.
Oh.
So, yeah, weird. I was
the fact that they wrote that into Grandpa's storyline is so perfect, because I can just imagine like that writer's room where maybe one of them have actually heard their grandfather say that, and maybe they didn't know what the hell they were talking about. They're like, whatever it is, we just need to use it.
I think he meant like black-eyed peas or something. We never found out. We were just terrified of him from then on.
Yeah, I can't find anything immediately, but yeah, he also says in that sentence, yam stuffed with gunpowder, so...
I do love that. It could be Grandpa's usual madness, who knows, but it was just a moment of, wait the fuck up. Let me send this back 10 seconds and re-listen.
I totally missed that, and I think that's kind of the mark of a good grandpa rant joke, is that,
Yeah, I mean, it starts off really great. I love the, rich men riding around in Zeppelins throwing coins out at people. But yeah, it went somewhere I really wasn't expecting.
Yeah. Great. A really fun, interesting way to start up this episode as well. And I mean, typically we see The Simpsons, especially in the classic era, doing the first act fuck you, the story that just kicks off the plot but doesn't have much to do with it. But this setting it up that it's the episode's B story is wonderful.
Well, it kicks both the A and B.
Yeah. And it does. It kicks both ass and butt. And
nicely done, my friend.
But I like it as well where the two stories kind of collide, where Lisa and Grandpa are both feeling unheard. And it's just a really great way that they both get reinvigorated by each other.
Yeah, I mean, sure, Grandpa gets a little lost, but, it's good. And Homer's great line of, I'm a white male, age 14 to 39. Everyone listens to my stupid suggestions, and then gets gum and nuts out of the together at last.
I think right off the back of that, the part that I laughed the hardest in that whole episode was Grandpa getting a job at a fast food joint where he's just like, Mayday, Mayday, can you hear me? And he's twisting the knobs and thinking it's World War II, but he's just at like a crusty burger.
Yeah. All the PTSD coming back. And do we sell
Grandpa
French fries?
and Skinner's like PTSD Vietnam war flashbacks was so good. And on that note as well, I think Malibu Stacy, the person, the line that she says is so funny where she goes, the reason that they kicked me out of Malibu Stacy in the 70s was because I wasn't, marketable and I was giving money to the Viet Cong.
That got me really hard. I don't think I've seen this episode since I understood what the Viet Cong was.
Yeah, exactly. Because, this was a show that I think for a lot of us, we primarily watched as kids. And it's just, it's part of the wonderful thing that these episodes can keep giving in that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Would have gone right over my head.
Yeah. Oh, and of course, as well, playing Stacey LaBelle is the amazing...
Meryl Streep.
Yep, Meryl Streep. She's returned. No. It's Kathleen Turner. And that husky voice that she has, and she delivers so many good emotions in this movie. It just didn't feel like stunt casting in that way.
How many of us have not been at one point or another been like, not now, I'm too drunk.
That's such a great line, and I think that's what really also differentiates the older seasons from the newer ones, where the new seasons feel like a kids show that's pitched to adults, whereas the old seasons feel like an adult show that's pretending to be a kids show, if that makes sense. Like a fully grown woman who makes dolls is telling an 8-year-old that she's too drunk to get up is a really dark thing to say at like 2 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Yep.
And the fact that they just don't shy away from that is so funny.
I also just love that Lisa's like, no, you're not. And that's not the moment she turns around. She just sits there, is like, yeah, I am. But doesn't even say it. It's just...
Yeah, but she gets so many good deliveries. Like, I absolutely adore the, do you know how many kids have tried to track me down? Am I the first? Yeah.
Or the ending where she goes, Lisa's like, if one girl just finds this really important and makes a meaningful connection, that's all that matters. And she's like, it cost $460,000 to produce this doll, but sure.
Good for you, Lisa.
Kudos, Lisa. Kudos.
Well, that's the great part of the dynamic. She gets to be the hard reality and Lisa gets to be the optimist. That's wonderful.
Which is a nice flip.
Yeah, because it's such a fun journey for that character as well, who's sort of portrayed to be, this person who lost any, like, morals and sense of integrity because, she became disillusioned with corporate culture and stuff. And to sort of see that it still remained at the end as well is just like, oh my God, I can't believe I believed this girl and blew all this money on it.
Yep. But, that'll happen. Also, having 5 husbands, Ken, Johnny, Joe, Dr. Colossus, Steve Austin.
Yep.
Can we also talk about the kid who threw his Frisbee 9 years ago over her fence, but also looks like 11 years old at the latest?
Yeah. But just immediately just didn't learn his lesson from the 9 years of mulling over it. Such a perfect button for that act break. So overall, is this a wacky episode of The Simpsons? How's the cartooniness?
Not terribly. I've only got Bart gets that mobile command center toy and launches one of the missiles, which seems to explode.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Homer went through with buying it because, in a couple of short seconds, he cut himself on it, got electrocuted by it, and, missile to the mouth.
Yeah.
I don't know if this counts as wacky or cartoony, but Joe, her ex-husband, coming back felt pretty weird that what did she say? She said something like,
release me from your kung fu grip.
Yeah.
Which is more of a funny line than anything, but just the idea of him kicking down her door so timely was quite wacky.
Daisy, I must have you back. Please take a ride with me in my mobile command center.
Yeah. Just still, like, it feels like they're pitching the toy at the same time as playing out this scene. Realistic kung fu grip and mobile command unit.
Yeah.
Like, Yeah, this episode gets to be a bit of fun with the toys as well. And I guess that's where a lot of wackiness does come from. Hanging out in the toy store and Homer recreating the famous scene from the movie Big.
Yeah. Also iconic. This isn't so much wacky, but I think it is quite absurd, is when Lisa's recording her voiceover lines and Krusty comes in and they're like, we got other dollies that we need to record the lines of today. And he's like, hey, number 2, it's Krusty, and just guns through them like an absolute pro. And I think this whole episode for me is an episode of hard truths about Lisa thinking she knows what the world is about, thinking that her ethics and her values are really good and strong, but in practice, like, she doesn't really know what the world is really about until she's, confronted with it in quite intense way.
Yeah. No, I think the episode, because this part of Lisa, like, exists in a weird place, and I feel like it's a really good job of the episode to address it, is that the way Lisa's character had been evolving up until this point was very much not the girl who plays with dollies. And so she'd always had the Malibu Stacy obsession, and I feel like this episode is, the turning point of that for Lisa, where this is, her giving up her dolls and stuff. But I think the episode as well being very self-referential in acknowledging, Lisa, I usually say stand up for what you believe in, but you've been doing that an awful lot lately.
Yeah.
So it acknowledges, like, the Lisa issues episode had becoming a trope up until this point, but also making her evolve and, like, giving up her dolly collection as well.
Totally.
And I was going to say, it speaks well to, I forget which, I think it's the Daddy-Daughter Day episode where she's got a shoebox apartment for Malibu Stacy, and it's like, this is where she publishes her weekly feminist newsletter.
Yeah.
It's still keeping, despite what I have to assume is all the marketing for Malibu Stacy, her vision of it, it's still consistent. And now she's got the talking version, which does not, conflate with that.
Yeah, and it totally breaks her reality of what she's been projecting. And I think that's where the real pin drop moment comes for her, because it does kind of make sense up until that point that she did have dolls, because if she's making the dolls run a UN meeting, then it is justified, I think.
Yeah.
But the fact that she hears Malibu Stacy say, the first thing she says is like, don't blame me, I'm just a girl, or forget all your troubles, let's have some strawberry ice cream. That is where the cognitive dissonance comes in. So I thought it was really smartly played.
Yeah, absolutely. And seeing her absolutely break when Bart
I love that
steps in. That's just what I was going to say. But I don't know if you two knew, but this is actually based on a real life thing.
Go on.
So there was, in 1992, there was introduced the Teen Talk Barbie, which a lot of people had a bunch of problems with for similar reasons in this episode. It wasn't quite as overt, but still pretty bad. Teen Talk Barbie would say things like, will we ever have enough clothes? And let's plan our dream wedding. Want to go to shopping? Math class is tough. And like all these things, and like, teachers' councils and parents' groups and stuff, largely objected this. And tying into another joke in this episode, a collective group got a bunch of those talking Teen Barbie dolls and a bunch of talking G.I. Joe dolls and swapped the voice boxes in them and then put them back on the store shelves.
That is brilliant.
Because I do love the joke in this one. Oh, there's something wrong with what my Stacy says. My spidey sense is tingling. Anyone call for a web slinger?
So good. But again, like we were saying, these are things that, you didn't have to know prior to the episode to have it work. The episode, does such a good job of laying this out.
Yeah, I like that it doesn't rely on any knowledge of anything from pop culture. And I think that's where the classic episodes are so strong, is that even if they are referencing a point in time or a movie or a book, when I was a kid, I learnt about a lot of movies and books from The Simpsons, and then I'd read the book and watch the movie after, and I'd be like, oh, that's like this Simpsons episode that I watched, and my family would be like, no, you've got it completely the wrong way around, you're broken. But I feel like when I watch a lot of the newer ones, when they're referencing stuff, it feels like they're painstakingly trying to inject their version of it, and it just feels quite inauthentic.
No, definitely. It's very much like, what if Grandpa did Black Swan? And it's like, what are we doing here?
Oh, yeah, that's a...
It's like the Family Guy effect almost.
Yeah.
Oh, very much. Like, yeah, I know we've pointed it out in the teens era that there's a definitive point where we're like, that's clearly where either the writers are now more influenced by it or Fox are saying, be more like this other one. Or
be more like this Family Guy show. It's making the money.
He says, chomping on his cigar.
Yep.
But yeah, talking about all this perfectly segues into the heart of the episode. How were the bumps?
I really liked it. I thought the generational differences between Lisa as circa 90 third wave feminist and then going back to old school Malibu Stacy and having their heart to heart in her house and also both kind of being on the same page, but you know, big corporate greed kind of got the better of her vision, and yet she's still like this flawed character but still has this earnestness to help Lisa. And I thought, yeah, that worked really nicely for me because Lisa could have very well easily gone to Malibu Stacy's house and pointed the finger and said, like, you're the problem, you're what's wrong with America, you're what's wrong with women today. But instead she said, let's do something together and make something better. And I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah,
I do like the way she gets into the house is playing what the doll says through the intercom and the gates just slide open for the first time ever. It's a nice moment.
Well, yeah, as well, because that really highlights the whole, this is a disillusioned person that had long ago, for her own health, stopped caring about it or gets drunk to try and forget caring about it. And yeah, this is the thing that snaps. It's really, it's really good exploring that.
Yeah, and it's at the Recluse Ranch Estates. It's a good little place for it.
I miss that.
Yeah.
And also the sign gag of the Malibu Stacy factory is also like a poisonous plastics manufacturer or something.
Yeah.
Petrochemicals.
Oh, no. The best one was the Kidstown Toy Store, not affiliated with Kidstown Juvenile Correctional Farm.
Yeah. Not even a center, a farm.
Yeah. But I think the emotional heart on this one, this is what I like about the Critical Watch, is that in a way Lisa gets to maintain her not integrity, but more her optimism at the world, because, you know, Stacey LaBelle took the hit of the money and Lisa gets to see a tiny bit of change, regardless of how small it is. She did make a difference. So I love that. It's very sweet.
Absolutely. But to do with the manufacturer of the dolls, I do have to bring up a quick Jordan's Anal Corner.
Jordan's Anal Corner? No, you know what? I haven't screamed it for a good long time. Jordan's Anal Corner! Oh, that feels so much better.
Wake up, Peter's neighbours. Yeah, Amelia, one of our recurring guests on our show, Jordan, our lovely, lovely friend Jordan, he's particularly anally retentive and like notices the smallest flaws and stuff with Simpsons episodes. So we've named this section after him.
I've got one as well. I wonder if we have the same one.
Well, my one was, so they got the dolls manufactured. They got boxes and boxes stacked up in the Simpsons house.
Yep.
Then they decide what should the name be.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad after you did the packaging. And also, in one shot, you can see on the side of all those boxes is written Lisa Lionheart before they come up with that name.
Ooh, nice. I had a different one.
You could maybe write it off that Stacey LaBelle always wanted that, but like gave the illusion of choice or something.
Yeah. I had the one that, how does Kent Brockman's daughter already have one before it's been launched?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, she was right about the Berlin Wall, to be fair. Does that mean she gets all dolls first? I don't know.
Maybe it's like a media release, you know how
Yeah.
journalists will get them. They're like, we really need to send this doll to this journalist's daughter.
I mean, it worked.
Yeah, strategically, yeah. He then dedicated 28 minutes of a news broadcast on a day where the president murdered somebody.
Just a side note on the point in the Malibu Stacy factory. I don't know if anyone picked up on this, but there was like a weird moment in the video where they called Malibu Stacy America's favorite 8.5 inches, which was just really awkwardly phrased, but also very funny.
Again, we're on a streak of great video tour things in this because, I love that video as well. It's like, she wanted to make a doll that was also edible. Kids didn't like the taste of dried onion meal.
Yeah.
Ugh. But ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Are the characters behaving like themselves?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. not much really to talk about that because it's just like...
Well, no, it's Lisa wanting to change the world in whatever way she can and doing that from a surprisingly well. It comes as no surprise to any of the characters that Stacey LaBelle lives in Springfield.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least within biking distance of them. And I love, Grandpa's conclusion on his story of the good Lord lets us get old for a reason, to gain the wisdom to find fault with everything he made. It's just so good.
I forgot to bring that up in the heart because I feel like that really solidifies his story is that he's very insecure about his age starting up and he tries to be something that he's not and then he realizes, he so comes full circle and it's lovely and funny in all great ways.
I mean, this is a man who once had Buzz Cola burn his tongue. So.
Yeah,
I love that. To immediately go from, you're only as old as you feel. Oh my God, this soda kills me.
Falling in the grave. Hey, this ain't so bad.
The other thing with character integrity as well is Bart realizing, hey, this episode hasn't been about me. And literally jumping to get attention. But yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
For real. And episodes we want to watch again, we like to think about playlists they go in. What playlist would we put Lisa vs. Malibu Stacy in?
Mentions of Dr. Colossus.
Ah, yes. Put this with Who Shot Mr. Burns when he tries to escape with his boots.
Mm-hmm. It's about it for Dr. Colossus references.
Yeah.
I'd put it next to the episode where Homer creates the bubble car.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, yeah.
Because it's got a similar through line where he meets his brother and he has to create a car and it just goes completely pear-shaped.
Yeah. Oh, Simpsons trying to invent and, do something new in the market. Yeah.
They're doomed from the start.
By nature of being a Simpson, everything must reset to zero. What torture.
Yep.
It's a weird playlist, but like in the classic era especially, there were a lot of versus episodes. Marge versus the monorail.
Bart versus Australia.
Yep. Oh, yeah. We reviewed that one a couple of weeks ago. I think that'd be a very good playlist, the versus one. Yeah. All right. But, no episode is perfect. So what would we like to change? Amelia, we'll start with you.
Oh, that's a hard one. I'm just trying to think. I don't know. I don't think there's anything I would change necessarily. In this one, I thought the ending was justified. I liked all of the character beats. I thought the stakes were real. And I don't think I have anything that I would personally change now.
How about you, BT?
I would take Amelia's note and have when Kent Brockman's daughter walks in to talk about the doll, he turns around and says, I got you that pre-release review copy so you would leave me alone while I work on this story. Just so it all ties together. That's what I would change.
I love watching these episodes.
He would also then say, listen to the Simpsons Index and go to...
I did a 28-minute news report on this podcast from Australia, but it's just that damn good.
Yep, and then he'll end by saying, go to patreon.com/SideQuest Studios to support everything they do. Wink to the camera.
BT with another sneaky plug.
Segway.
Yeah, look, revisiting these episodes is an absolute joy because I like feeling dumb. Like, it makes me sad that I feel like I can watch a new Simpsons and, like, I'm not a writer, but I feel like I could write this better. And this is like, I couldn't touch this. This is, like, exquisite. It's wonderful, which is probably giving away my rank too early. But anyway, we are here. Amelia, do you have any other notes, things that happened in this episode you want to mention before we rank it?
Oh, I thought I was pretty funny at the part where there's a picture of Bart in the newspaper at the Mardi Gras, just looking dead, like stone cold, staring into the camera, not really knowing how to deal with it. And I thought that was very funny.
You know what? Good on the Simpsons for showing up to...
Yeah. That was pretty much it.
How about you, BT? Do you have any other notes about this episode?
When they're introducing Matlock, they say, here's the man that puts young people behind bars where they belong. That's
right.
Just a great line.
Man, but also the thing I found out in my research, and I never knew, Matlock was Andy Griffith.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I had no idea. But
Well, there we go.
yeah. Any other notes?
Of course. I do like Grandpa's line of like, I can feel the icy hand of death on my shoulder. Wait, that's mine. Mostly because the previous shots do have him, with his arm on his own shoulder under his jacket. It works. It's good. I like their attention to detail. Let's see. Lisa, you're not going to throw red paint, are you? The Keebler people were very upset.
I had to look them up because I didn't know, but like Keebler just like make cookies and crackers and stuff. Like they're the ones who make Cheez-Its.
Yeah, they had it coming.
Those elves know what they did.
Oh, yeah. So one bit I know was cut from syndication, which bothers me, is the Leroy, get your ass into gear, shut your hole.
Yeah.
Just it's weird to see the parts that were cut from our childhood intact in these episodes. You stole things from us, Channel 10.
We're tough. We could have taken it.
Exactly. We could have learned the word hole. That's fine. I like when Stacey Lubell's designing the new doll, and it's like, how about my hair? No, how about me?
Yeah.
No, you all have hideous hair from a design perspective.
Yeah, really good, like, self-aware joke for The Simpsons, and, like, earlier Lisa does it's like, I'd be mortified if there was some, cheap product with The Simpsons name on it. Yeah.
Yep. I'll have to call in a favor from Washington. A guy just throws a brick and then leaves. Like, Dad, did you hear anything? Oh.
Yeah, and then our one effort to stop this Lisa Lionheart failed miserably.
There's a bit where it's like, okay, gentlemen, to lick this Lisa Lionheart problem, we're going to have to stay here all night. Can we get Chinese food? Yes. And then just the rabble behind it, like, oh, well, you do know a good place. And I go, yeah. We'll get Chinese food. Yeah. I like a good little rabble joke where you can hear little bits and pieces. And the final line of Marge, Lisa, lady, and then when Homer runs off, it's like he's spent unknown amount of time with or his daughter's been hanging out with this woman for probably like a month at least at this point. He doesn't even know who she is.
Yeah.
It's a good little implication.
Yeah, actually, I was watching this episode with my partner in that final bit where, he just goes back and dives on the piano. She's just like, he's so stupid. To console her, she was like crying over it. Grandpa just absolutely kills in this episode. Like, just so many good lines. Careful, my skull is eggshell thin. And does my face remind you of the grim spectre of death? Yes.
You ever seen a sandwich that can take a bite out of you?
Yes. I love that the customer gets it and steals his bit, and then he's like, oh. Yeah, and in that scene as well, secret sauce is just mayo left out in the sun. Mm-hmm. Weird mayo playlist.
Yeah. What the hell, Elliot?
All right, I think that's all my notes. It is time to rank this thing. Amelia, you can go first this time.
I think I'm going to say gold because I laughed a lot, and I think even though it was very of its time, it has aged well because I think a lot of the ideas are still relevant today, and it's really true to Lisa's character. The plot line, like the core plot line, is really strong, and then all of the side gags are equally just as strong and hold their own in of themselves. So I loved it, and I'm going to give it a gold.
All right, and just to tempt, so we do have the rank above that, the cubic zirconia, because we say gold's excellent, but like cubic zirconia is essential. Do you think this episode is essential to the Simpsons experience?
Ooh, actually, yeah, I think I am. I'm gonna bump her up.
Yes.
Way to coerce a guess there, Elliot.
I'm cubic as well. This is easily one of my favorite episodes of season 5. Amazing one-time character and Lisa and Grandpa absolutely slay. BT.
This one's a little difficult, and it's hard to tell what's like nostalgia goggles because I did like pre-write so many jokes on this one. So if someone wanted to argue down to like a gold, then I could kind of understand it. It is very hard to be objective on this. But that said, I mean, the fact there's new things to mine out of this one that I never noticed before, I liked the kind of integrity of keeping Lisa's optimism alive. Again, for one-off characters, this is right up there for me. You might even get near like a Hank Scorpio level of one-off characters. Not quite, but pretty damn close. I am going to cubic zirconia as well.
All right, unanimous cubic zirconia. We are giving this episode the Simpsons Index Outstanding Achievement in the Field of Excellence Award. And it will be the 14th episode from season 5 to get the unanimous cubic. It will be joining Homer's Barbershop Quartet, Cape Fear, Rosebud, Treehouse of Horror 4, Marge on the Lam, Boy Scouts in the Hood, The Last Temptation of Homer, Stoller Springfield, the casino one, Homer the Vigilante, Homer Loves Flanders, Burns' Air, Sweet Seymour Skinner's Badass Song, and The Boy Who Knew Too Much.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
There's your playlist.
Yeah. And with that as well, I've done the math. Season 5 will probably end up being reliably in our second best season as well, just behind Season 7.
Nice.
Getting an average dull cubic zirconia.
Wow.
Awesome. Well, that about covers it for the Simpsons Index. But oh wait, no it doesn't. We have the most important question to ask you, Amelia.
Indeed.
BT.
All right, so we've had a lot of fun here today. We've also talked a lot about sandwiches. Now, Amelia, we like to ask our new guests, if you could have a sandwich named after you, what would be on that sandwich? And if that question is too hard, because indeed this is a very hard question I've sprung on you right at the very end, simplify it down to, what's the best sandwich?
This is odd, because this is a Curb Your Enthusiasm joke in a Simpsons Index podcast. Do you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm? Yeah, Larry David has his own
Elliot,
sandwich.
did we steal this bit? You never told me.
Technically, I stole it from Jared Petty's podcast, Pockets Full of Soup, but that hasn't run for a few years now. But no, I know what you're talking about because, the Larry David sandwich and the Ted Danson, and he tries to get...
On that note, I think I'm going to say sable and whitefish.
Got to appreciate it for the joke. Do you have an Amelia sandwich, though?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, oofed. Probably just like... Oh, actually, no. I recently watched The Sopranos, so I bought heaps of gabagoo, and I had that the other day with olives and cheese, and it was really good. So I'm going to say that.
I don't know what it is, but it sounds fun to say.
It's
Gabagoo.
like prosciutto. It's almost like, it's really close to prosciutto, but it's a different part of the leg, I think. So it's like got a different texture, but it's really good, and you can get it at Coles. So
perfect.
Not sponsored.
While we're plugging stuff, this is the portion of the show where we plug stuff. Do you have anything to plug, Amelia?
Oh, I have an Instagram account.
Yeah, sure.
I'm at Blurrier_IRL. And you can see stand-up comedy stuff there, like any shows that I'm doing, which is none at the moment, but I usually post all my gigs there. So, that's probably the best bit. Otherwise, I'm not really on the onlines too much.
All right. And BT, what about if other people want to hear what we're doing? Where are we doing stuff?
Yep. Well, as we plugged earlier, you can go to patreon.com/SideQuestStudios to see basically the blanket for everything we do. This covers the Simpsons Index, our Game of Thrones podcast, Thrones of Game, which is complete now, where we watch the entire series backwards. And, of course, our fiction podcast series, Pulp Fury Radio, where we have an anthology of pulp-based scripts that we did with some actors and some amazing sound effects, and very proud of that work. And I have still, after all this time, really bad at spruiking it. There's just too many things to cover at once, explaining what it is and what we did with it. But it's very good, and I'm very proud of the work. You can also check it out on pulpfuryradio.com.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, really proud of that series. Got Facebook notifications, actually. That's our 1 year anniversary of releasing all those ones. And weirdly, we've had like a bit of a bump with the Jazz Noir. For whatever reason, people were downloading it a lot last month.
Nice.
So,
well,
that's our detective noir mystery episode.
Yeah, I'm proud of all of them, but that might be the best one.
Yeah. Look, Amelia, thank you so much for joining us for the Simpsons Index. That was a hell of a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you. It was so much fun.
And BT, thank you as always.
Ahoy.
And I've been your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill. That's all the mustard in the house.
I had something I was going to yell and I forgot what it was.
What smells like mustard?
That was it.
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or at Simpsons Index on Twitter or Instagram. Now, there's no bonus scenes for this episode, so we'll catch you next week.